Yeah, baby, here we go. We're 1 week away from the kickoff of college football season, along with Kip Keefer, the legend, and Tony Curry. This is the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. We do it every single week. Before we start talking off the top here, you have Kip Perspective coming up here, and I know you got your top 10. We're doing top 10 or top 20 this year because you have your own team since the AP poll has come out.
Yeah, the AP poll came out the day before yesterday. It's basically a carbon copy of the coaches poll, monkey see, monkey do. The only poll that matters is the annual opening season poll from Kip Keefer, and I'm going to reveal my top 10 today because we don't need to go any deeper than that. I'm only interested in playoff teams.
Legend, the cave is open for business. What you got?
Tony, I am drinking the Crimson Kool-Aid
there it is.
Cave. When you take one drink of the Crimson Kool-Aid, you think Alabama will win every game. And I'm going to tell you why not only Legend can take a drink, but why Alabama fans can too, Tony.
All right. Ranked, 13th in the...
Hey, let's not talk about that.
13 is not such a bad number if you're
Not a bad number.
Not if you're Taylor Swift.
Horses, we are aware.
Yes.
He needs to be. He needs to be.
Hey, our good friend Mark Ingram from UAB was let go, or they had a mutual
Really popular guy here at the start.
I have had some conversations with Mark, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit on Bone Fragments. Also knows the best 5 minutes in television. Also going to talk a little bit about Mike Repole. He is of course, one of the owners of the UFL, and how badly they're screwing up the Birmingham metro area. I hate that. We'll get into that coming up here in just a few minutes. And also, we have some fantastic stuff going on with not only football, but of course the baseball season. How your Baltimore Orioles doing, by the way?
We're 3 steps forward, 4 steps back.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see us making 500 all year, Tony. But if we get within one game of 500, we may make the playoffs in the American League.
That's the thing is the Reds in Baltimore basically have this. We have a little bet going, but you have to give me 7 games. That's the only way. That's the only way I can win this bet.
It's over.
But the records are almost the same.
Identical.
Baltimore is like 2 games out. The Reds are like 8 games out of the wild card. And of course, at this time of the season, if you got like 6 or 7 teams in front of you, it's perhaps just not going to happen. So it's not. So I got to ask you, Kip, because we do this thing called teases in television and radio. Monkey see, monkey do. Okay, we got the Ohio States, we got the Texases, we got the Georgias, we got to put Alabama in there somewhere. So if you're not going to be monkey see, monkey do with the AP and the coaches, you better have a zinger. You better have inside your top 10, top 20. You better have one that we're not counting on, like in Indiana that started 17th last year.
Yeah, I've got 7 of the top 10 teams that those polls have.
Okay.
So I'm not way off the reservation. I've just got them in a completely different order because I don't just follow the lead of whoever goes first.
Nice, off the reservation. Are you one of those guys that does a top 10 based on what they were last year?
Yeah, well,
or are you one? We talked about this on Keefer and Curry Sports on Tony Curry Radio, by the way. Pull it up. It's podcast all over the country. Or are you like, what are they going to be this year?
Yeah, I don't think you can. I don't think you can really speculate on what they're going to be until you see them play. So what I base it on is some kind of deep-seated coaching trends of how successful teams are converting third down, stopping teams on third down, red zone efficiency, situational football, and I also really look at schedules. So what I'm trying to do is speculate on who is in the best position to be in these positions as the year goes by. But, anybody who's trying to predict the playoff teams of the top 10 now for the entire season with all the injuries and everything else that can result, I just think that's a fool's errand.
Real quick, 30 seconds. You had that crazy stat, that Alabama stat of where they were ranked the last, since 2013. What is that?
Yeah, between 2013 and 2022, the Alabama Crimson Tide were never lower than 3rd in the AP poll. That is a remarkable run.
They're right where Auburn usually starts. Sorry, Auburn. Every single year, Auburn's 15th, 16th, and 17th. I mean, Auburn's always in the mix, and at the end of the season, they end up being in that same pocket. Final question, is Alabama laying in the weeds?
Hell yeah, we laying in the weeds. Hell yeah, Hollywood Williams, Ezekiel Crowell. Hey, if Keon Russell is everything they say he is, they compared him to Jalen Daniels, Who knows, Tony? Hell yeah, we in the weeds. You better watch out.
We'll make sure you're out there for the
Things can bite you that are
those
right there in
mosquitoes,
the
those
weeds.
chigger bites ain't too good in the weeds either. Terry's with us, of course, the queen of the SEC, not to mention we going out west, maybe out to Las Vegas and get Case Keefer's big picks as well. This is the Birmingham Racecourse and Casino starting lineup.
The Birmingham Racecourse Casino turns dreams into reality. Like Roger M., who just won over $51,000. And Rebecca, celebrating a life-changing jackpot of $160,000. You could be the next to dance the Icky Shuffle with a big win.
Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! I'm a winner! I'm a winner! Woo! And you can be a winner too!
Don't miss your chance to be our next big winner at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
Welcome back to the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup, the best 5 minutes in television, also known as Bone Fragments, 542-1848. Yeah, what's something we'll talk about? Make sure you give me a call. I have a special guest here in Bone Fragments, and of course, that's the Kip Keefer man. A great story.
I don't know
come
how
up here.
special I am, but thank you for having
Well,
me.
you have a special story, so no matter, but you tell it very, very well. So we'll get into that in a second. First of all, a little special message for Michael Repole. Of course, he is one of the billionaire UFL owners.
Yes.
Who's going back and forth with Protective Stadium and the Birmingham people on Twitter. Said basically, listen, you were too big for me. Too big for me. We broke up. Let's move on. So if you want to use that dating analogy, I can go as far as to say this Stallion team, and of course this rich billionaire who thinks he knows how to run a football franchise, sounds like that haughty, tawdy, high-maintenance, big pain in the blonde who ain't got it all up here. Because you know what we did? We started going out with you, and we gave you one of the nicest stadiums in the country, brand new. I don't care what you say. It's state of the art. It's unbelievable. It's perfect. 47,100 seats. It's unbelievable. We also, of course, gave you 2,200 more season tickets. That whole thing. Could you imagine going out with a woman and she says, I tell you what, I love you, but I don't want to go out with you anymore unless you sell me 5,000 more tickets. Well, what kind of relationship is that? And also, you're getting rid of the best team in the UFL, period. The Birmingham Stallions were always best, back-to-back champions. That's all I'll say about that. More on Mark Green in a few minutes. Our good friend, Frank Beard, whose dog bit me in the finger back in 1994 on his tour bus.
Oh,
And
yeah, Frank Beard. I called him Chris.
Frank did 13. I don't think he'd matter at this point. Got me 13 stitches on my finger right before we did an interview.
Unbelievable story
And he
there.
was so afraid I was going to sue him. I'm like, dude, you're Frank Beard. What am I going to do?
And it was a little foo-foo dog.
It
right?
was about 1.5 pounds.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
I think it was twisted at the
But
end.
his teeth were 1.5 pounds.
Exactly. But you, to upsell a classic rock god like myself, he's like, let me tell you this Billy Gibbons story. I haven't heard it, but we have a couple minutes. I want you to share how you had a brush with famous
Billy Gibbons is such a multi-talented guy. He's the front man for many years, along with Dusty. Frank Beard, who just passed away, was in the background on the drum kit. But Billy was the musical genius, the choreographer of so much of what you've heard from ZZ Top. He used to come to Memphis every year for 4 or 5 months at a time, work at Ardent Studios there, laying down tracks for everything they're going to do for their next album. But we had a very nice facility back in those days at the Southland Greyhound Park, where I kind of got my start in broadcasting. I was the 23-year-old voice of Southland Racing. Called all the races. We were on local television. It was a big deal for a guy that wanted to be the next great play-by-play man, but it was a good route to go to get experience and get in the business. One night I was working, and there was a knock at the door. It was a security guard at my little announcer booth, which is just a cramped little closet up on the very top of the building. And he said, Mr. Clark, who was the general manager, asked me to escort this special guest who wanted to meet you up here. And all of a sudden, this guy steps in the frame of my door wearing this $2,500 suit, beard down, to his belt buckle. I mean, I was not a ZZ Top fan, but everybody with a functioning brain knew exactly who it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't know his name was Billy Gibbons. He's a ZZ Top guy.
Oh,
but
man.
that's how clueless I was way back then. Anyway, he said, hey, I've just been really enjoying your work. And I asked Mr. Clark if I could come up and watch you do a race. And I said, well, sure, come on in. So he sits in this rickety wooden chair, which I was afraid was going to break, and we're going to have this big scandal. We've crippled a rock star. But he watches it. We have a little conversation. I said, okay, I got to call the race. And the Greyhounds are in the starting box, and I made my call. And leaning out the window like I did to do my races, and I switched off the microphone, turned to look at Billy. He rose from the chair and is giving me a standing ovation.
Encore.
That was just outstanding. That was great. I love that. You know, so good to see you do that in person. And it was like the most amazing role reversal you can ever imagine.
He's actually been on my radio station several times through Austin Hanks, who plays in the big band blues band with Billy, and now of course there's only one left. And I said, I want you to do an interview because I really don't do interviews. I said, I tell you what, next time you go out and have dinner with Austin, take your phone and set down the table and just hit record and send me what you got. And it was 15 minutes of them talking over guacamole and riffs and I mean all these things, and I ran the thing unedited all the way through. It was probably 10 of the best minutes of radio for sure. So you will surely be missed, Frank Beard. Once was Tres Hombres, now is Uno. We're Dos, along with
Billy's
legend.
the last survivor. We lost Dusty 3 or 4 years ago, the singer. So Billy was probably the favorite to be the first to probably check out. He's had a lot of health problems.
Like Keith Richards was for the Rolling Stones.
Oh, yeah. Keith Richards defying the odds.
Yeah, we've already seen the drummer go down in that band, so we'll see what's next. All right, we're going to move on here. Coming up next week, it is all college football, wall to wall, baby. We're going to get into it. We'll have some good laughs, too. And, of course, all the wonderful clients we're going to have on right here at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. Have a blessed day.
Time for some Kip perspective today on the starting lineup. You know, I got to have the opportunity to go down to Tampa for SEC Media Days, and it's kind of amazing to be in that room when the coaches come make their presentation, get to circle around and talk to a lot of the players, really up close and personal. And in that room, it's a lot more effective to just kind of feel the vibe, I guess, for lack of a better term, of how coaches are thinking and where they are in terms of their optimism, a lot of different signals. So anyway, with all that being said, and I'm all SEC all the time, I'm not shy about that, I have come up with, in light of the fact that the AP and the coaches poll has just been recently released, the only poll that really matters is the Kip Keefer Open Season Top 10. I don't go top 25. I'm interested in the top 10. I'm going to give you my teams here today on the show and give you the real good stuff in terms of who should be ranked coming into the season. Now, we don't know what teams are going to actually have until we see them play, but until then, based on schedule, based on coaching trends, based on a lot of different aspects, here's my top 10. And I'll go from the very top down. I've got SEC member Georgia Bulldogs, who have been a bye team in the last 2 playoffs. They've got all their players back pretty much. The wide receiver core a little bit depleted, but they've got some real promising prospects there. That could end up being fine. I think they're going to get back to Georgia football, running a lot with on the ground and utilizing their tight ends. And Gunnar Stockton, probably the most underappreciated player in the country. I think he's going to have a monster year. Georgia was probably one of the 2 best teams in the country going into the playoffs the last 2 years and have had voodoo in New Orleans. I think some witch doctors have put some spells on them, and the evil wizard Trinidad Shambliss shattered their chances last year. I like Kirby to get it done this year. Number 2 in my poll, I have got the Miami Hurricanes. And I don't really like Mario Cristobal. I don't think he's a great coach. I think if Miami had not had a running around Australian idiot punter, they might have won the national championship last year. But he ran around in his own end zone and kicked it right into an Indiana guy's gut that led to a touchdown. They lost by 6 points. Enough. Miami is loaded. They brought in a better quarterback than Carson Beck in Mensa. And Malachi Toney, I believe, is pound for pound the best player in the country. Number 3, I have got in that spot maybe somebody you don't quite expect to be slotted there, but it just occurs to me that Texas A&M, I saw steely determination with Mike Elko, and I think it's going to come down to A&M hosting Texas the last week of the season. I think those teams will have similar runs this year, but I like A&M to finally break through and beat Texas in College Station, so I've got them in the number 3 spot. In the number 4, Ohio State. Ohio State's on top of everybody's poll. How can that be? They had 15 players drafted. There's only 22 players that start, so 15 out of their 22 are gone to the NFL, and yet, well, they're just going to reload and they're going to be better than ever. I don't buy it. Show me. And Julian's saying, I'm just saying, in the biggest games with the biggest stages you played on last year, you did not deliver. So show me that you are legitimate, and maybe I'll reconsider. Number 5, Notre Dame. Simple, ridiculously easy schedule. Only 2 tough games, Miami and BYU, and both of them are at home. The Fighting Irish are going to be a handful this year, and are certainly going to be a playoff team with the rules written just for them. So that's the top 5. I've got a interesting group in the next tier, I guess you could say. Let's skip down to number 6, the Oregon Ducks. Now, there was a disturbing report this week that Nike revenue is down 30% over the last 3 years. If Nike goes dry, Oregon's just going to be an outpost because Nike totally just completely funds that program. So the Ducks may have their big chance here, but they better quack now or forever hold their peace. Let's go to 9 and 10. I've got Alabama number 9. A lot of doubters about the Tide. I think Alabama is going to be the team that is going to show their roster strength. I like their skill players. I love their defense. I think they're going to get it together. I got them number 9. And number 10, kind of a surprise, the Michigan Wolverines is my number 10 team. I love the hire of Kyle Whittingham. What a coaching upgrade. They've got so much talent back on defense, almost their entire defensive unit. And Underwood, the quarterback, is going to be phenomenal in his second year with the Michigan Wolverines. So that's the Kip Keefer Top 10. Take it to the bank, folks. The season's upon us, and we can't wait.
Hey, it's Case Keefer back again for another edition of the Vegas Heaters as part of the starting lineup. I am a longtime sports bettor, sports betting writer, and sports editor for Greenspun Media Group here in Las Vegas, which we have Las Vegas Sun and Las Vegas Weekly. We are getting closer. This time next week, we will have college football. What an exciting time. Can't wait. Next week, we'll break down some games. I'll give out some of my first best bets. Haven't done any week 0 work yet, but have looked at all the teams in the nation at this point. I feel like on this show, obviously, it's always very SEC-centric. I feel like I've talked about almost every SEC team. Here in the last few weeks, we have been bouncing around to other conferences along with that series, picking all the win totals. Only one to go. Well, they're all up now as you watch this, or they will be this weekend, but we have 2 more to cover on the show, and we are going to do that today with the Big 12, the other power conference, along with the ACC that we have not talked about here. And honestly, my big picture thoughts on the Big 12 is that, man, it just really looks similar. We're talking about just, there's no way you could bet against Texas Tech going into this year. Let's cut straight to the chase. I know they're over under 10.5, heavily juiced to the over. I'm not saying go out and bet it necessarily, but there's no way you can bet under. I don't think you can take shots with a team at least close to them in the conference futures. They're even money as low as you can find them to win the Big 12. We're a lot higher than that with the whole Brendan Sorsby debacle shot back down. I'm honestly still very tempted to take even money. Now, do I want to put a giant wager that I'm going to have to wait all year to pay out on that? I'm not sure, so I have not actually made that bet yet, but I do think they probably are a slightly above 50% chance to end up winning the Big 12 championship game. As far as getting to the Big 12 championship game, almost no doubt in my mind they will be there because they also drew a super easy schedule this year. I said everything is looking the same right now. The team right behind them, of course, is BYU, who made it to the conference championship game last year, got absolutely smoked by Texas Tech twice last year. And to me, I'm falling back into the trap. I keep making the same mistake, but I have doubted BYU several years in a row now. I think this will be the 3rd straight year where I have played them under. They keep proving me wrong. They keep going over, but I'm going back to the well again. I don't really like this BYU team. Now, I know Baron Bachmeier did make an impression at quarterback his freshman season, but you look at some of their metrics. They had a lot of turnover luck. They won a lot of close games. Eventually that stuff starts to even out. I know it's been year after year after year now. They have been excelling in those areas, and maybe that is partly the coaching. I do think Kalani Sitake has gotten much better. I was very questionable about him early in his tenure, 8 or 9 years ago now. Now I think he is a great coach. There is some of that. I just don't think BYU is as good as the market is pricing them. There's been some skepticism, like I said, from me the last several years. There's always something knocking down that number. Now is the clear second best team in the Big 12. I'm not totally buying. I would be under on BYU. Another team expected to kind of be up there at the top competing with BYU and Texas Tech is Arizona. A team I was on over last year, was pretty high on as they were so low. Brent Brennan was on the hot seat. I think their win total was 4.5. They just blew over it behind Noah Fafita, who it seems like has been their quarterback for 7 years now. I think it probably is his 6th year. But he has such a volatile style. You could see him having a huge year like that. You could also see him throwing a lot of interceptions, everything not totally gelling. I do not love the skill players around him this year. I'm going to go under on Arizona. I think they're the one team that you look in that top 5 of the Big 12 most people have pegged. I don't think that they are going to quite get there. And honestly, I think it's the whole territorial state you can have me as a seller at. I'm selling Arizona State as well. I think you can get plus money under 6.5. This roster is just in shambles. Their money problems are well documented. They might have the smallest football budget or one of them in the Big 12. I think that's going to be hard to bounce back from. I know Kenny Dillingham gets a lot of love, and hey, I think he's a great coach too. However, I already mentioned Sam Leavitt. He's the guy we keep going back to. I think maybe more of what Arizona State did the last 2 years had to do with Leavitt than even Dillingham. Just a theory, but we'll see. I think 6.5. I think for them to get 6-6 would be a pretty good year, and I think that's pretty close to their ceiling. Of course, they could win more than that, but I'm going to go under as well on Arizona. Now let's go. It can't be all negative. I've got to go with one team I am positive on. I will be betting, and if I had to take a long shot, who it would be. It pains me to say it as a Kansas graduate, but I really, really like Kansas State this year. I really liked them last year too, so another version of this feeling the same. However, this year you've got Colin Klein stepping in, Texas A&M offensive coordinator. You know I'm selling high on Texas A&M. I've talked about it a couple times on this show. A lot of that has to do with their offensive line, but really has to do with Colin Klein, who I think was on fire as their offensive coordinator. Obviously runner-up to the Heisman, 13, 12, whatever years ago it was at Kansas State. Makes so much sense to go back to his alma mater. I think he is going to be way more energized. It seemed like Chris Kleinman was worn down last year from the whole NIL era. He's got a lot back, too. A great quarterback in Avery Johnson, who was getting Heisman buzz at this time 2 years ago. Now you hear no one talk about him. I know there's some concern with the trenches. Maybe they're not going to be great in the offensive and defensive lines. However, what has Kansas State done time and time again for like 30 years? They go find these big guys and they develop them into offensive linemen. I think that will be the same tact Klein uses here. I love their schedule, easiest schedule in the Big 12. I would not be surprised if the Big 12 championship game, calling my shot right now, Texas Tech, Kansas State, those are the teams at the top to bet in the Big 12. That was my Big 12 preview. Check out my thoughts on all the teams at LasVegasSun.com. We'll be back next week with some Week 0 talk and maybe some NFL as well, which is what I've really been working on. Thanks a lot for joining me for another Vegas Heaters. Let's wrap up the starting lineup next.
Hey, welcome to the Legend Cave, where few men have ever sat. I just want to thank, before I get started, David Legend, all the people down in Walker County who reached out to me, and the many people of Alabama who's missed the Legend. It's wonderful to be back with Kip Keefer Sports in the starting lineup, and I can't wait for the season. And you're right on time, ladies and gentlemen, because me and Bear Bryant just mixed up a batch of the Crimson Kool-Aid. Bear drunk this back in 1979 when we won the first national championship of my youth. I remember that championship when Barry Krause crashed with Penn State and broke his helmet, baby. That's what the Crimson Kool-Aid does for you. And if you can notice, I'm already drinking it. And I'm going to give you reasons to drink the Crimson Kool-Aid. Number one, Keon Russell. Yes, the 5-star quarterback that we have been waiting on for 3 years. Every report I get out of Tuscaloosa, he is the next Jaden Daniels. I'm talking 6'3", 210 pounds, the number one dual threat in the nation coming out of high school 3 years ago. They say he is every bit a superstar waiting to explode on the scene. If you have a Jaden Daniels as quarterback, ladies and gentlemen, you are doing pretty good. Another reason to drink the Kool-Aid. Ryan Hollywood Williams has grown up. He's no longer the wide receiver, showing up with a teddy bear to the locker room, ladies and gentlemen. He is 210 pounds. He looks like Michael Irvin. He walks like Michael Irvin. He flies through the sky like Lynn Swann and Michael Irvin. Yes, I'm talking about reasons to drink the Crimson Kool-Aid. Bear told me if I drink this, I will believe Alabama will win every game. Is that what you're saying, Legend? I don't know, but I want to tell you something. As an Alabama fan, I have never went into a season where the national championship wasn't the number one priority on my mind. I don't care if it was Mike Shula. I don't care if it was Mike DeBose, even that idiot Dennis Franchoti. I believed, and I believe this year. Oh, I'm drinking the Crimson Kool-Aid until I know otherwise. Another reason to drink it. We got the best damn secondary in the nation. Bray Hubbard, Keon Sapp, Zayn Brown, Lee at the other corner. Baby, we are loaded in the secondary. Football season close. Time to tee it up and kick it off. Here in the Legend Cave, we're drinking the Crimson Kool-Aid, baby, until we find out otherwise. Remember, it's just a game. Don't be like Bear and Legend, drinking the Crimson Kool-Aid and being plumb crimson insane.
Welcome back to Birmingham Racecourse Casino starting lineup. Kipper, your schedule's pretty, we were talking the other day, about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. I'd call him at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. He'd be sitting there with his boxer shorts on, eating Cheetos, watching his big screen TV, had nothing to do. Now the guy's wearing Don Johnson clothes, $1 million belt buckles, and he's so damn busy, he's flying all over the place. What do you got going this week?
This week I'm on. It's a homestand, which is rare because 4 of the last 5 weeks I've been on the road and picked up a lot of really good information, made a lot of really nice contacts. But I'm really looking forward to the debut of season 10 this Sunday of our sister show. We've been on Game Time all summer. It's a year-round show now, but the morning after comes online Sunday, year number 10. Kip Keefer, Terry Quillian, your first opportunity to talk about what you saw on the field on Saturday. So now, Information Weekend domination is complete with Game Time, the starting lineup, and on Sundays morning after.
Legend, what's your schedule look like, brother?
Well, I'm back on the Feinbaum Show. You can see me, you can hear me every day at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on the Paul Feinbaum Show. You can also catch me on the X, the Legend, 120, 139. I will be putting content out on that about the SEC and what me and Kip Keefer is doing in the future. We got big plans down at the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. $1,500 parlay every week coming up at the casino. You got to be there. You know, you fanaticals that love them parlays, the Birmingham Racecourse Casino.
And no entry fee. It's absolutely free to play.
Yeah.
And if you can hit 5 out of 5, you will cash in. And we're going to start having happy hour parties out there. They're just about ready to open the brand new sports bar. I had a tour this morning. It is fabulous. I can't wait to host all of you great viewers. And you will be in the starting lineup every single week because we're going to do a lot of features from there. And that contest is going to be one of the highlights.
We'll be out there next week.
It's going to be 2 weeks.
But we're getting ready to I mean,
we are next week going to be downtown for an invitation-only kickoff event, but all of our events at the Racecourse Casino will be open to the public.
It's going to be fantastic. But again, no purchase necessary. You can be part of the big cash and fun. So get down to the Birmingham Racecourse Casino. It's going to be fantastic. We got all kinds of things going on Tony Curry Radio, still doing our thing. And of course, this big part of the show that we absolutely love. And last week, I got on the air and invited people to call me personally, 542-1848. We flashed my phone number and my email on the bottom. I said, if you want to be part of the best 30 minutes in television because it butts up against the ABC 3340 SEC and ABC Game of the Week, or the best 5 minutes of television, the best 5 minutes here with myself and Bone Fragments, then feel free to give me a call. I want to thank all the people who reached out, said they love the show, or they want to do business with us. You can't just say you want to do business, we take it. You have to be, you have to be in the mix. It's kind of like you have to be a part of the family. You know what I mean? We don't just, we cherry pick who we want to work with, which is a good thing. So you'll have some of those clients coming on here in the next few weeks. But again, thank you so much for watching us here. This is the starting lineup. College football next Saturday, baby.